Never been one to get shook up by spectral tales, but I'll tell you, standing in front of that godforsaken shack in the heartland of nowhere, I could feel the marrow in my bones turning cold. The evening mist was hanging around the place like a burial shroud, making the already quiet woods deathly silent. Shuffling towards the house, my shoes mashing fallen leaves into the earth, the world seemed mute, but for that solitary crunch, crunch, crunch. The porch boards groaned in protest as I set foot on them, sounding like the house itself was crying out in warning. The door on its rusty hinges screeched open, its echo piercing the stillness within. "Hello?" My voice bounced off the musty, peeling wallpaper. I got zilch in return. As I dared deeper into the shadowy labyrinth, the door slammed shut with a bang, a rush of icy wind snaking down my spine. A spark of panic flickered. In an attempt to beat back the growing dread, I fumbled along the wall looking for a light switch but got nothing. That's when my phone came to my rescue, its flashlight cutting a white swath through the darkness. Old family portraits, their colors bleached out over the years, hung from the walls, the subject's eyes a set of ghostly beads tracking my every move. And then, I heard it. A child's giggle, out of place, out of time. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice only half steady. Nothing but silence. The giggle had dissipated as abruptly as it had sounded. I could feel my pulse hammering in my ears, the fine hair on the back of my neck at attention. I made my way into the kitchen. A graveyard of shattered crockery underfoot, and a pair of threadbare curtains, once probably white, caught my eye. Then, as if a switch was flipped, the air turned frigid. My breath puffed out in visible clouds. The back of my neck prickled as if I was being watched. I whirled around, empty, but then I spotted it, the cellar door. I shouldn't, should I? A morbid curiosity won out over my sanity. I descended into the belly of the house, the wood steps straining under me. The cellar was dank, the smell of mildew and neglect potent. I panned my flashlight around, and its beam danced over the dusty faces of old wine bottles, forgotten tools, and an oddly out-of-place pair of tiny worn-out shoes. A sudden gush of wind whooshed past, taking with it the light of my flashlight. It was pitch black. "Come play with me." A voice, a child's whisper, slid over me like ice. My heart thundered in my chest. My fingers fumbled over the screen of my phone, desperation creeping into my veins. The flashlight sputtered back to life. The room was as I had left it, but for one thing. A shabby rocking horse was swaying on its own. I bolted up the stairs, the cackling laughter of the invisible specter hot on my heels. I made a beeline for the exit. It wouldn't give. I was a rat in a trap. "Let me out," I hollered, my fists banging against the wooden barrier. The house fell deathly quiet. I turned around and nearly dropped my phone. A specter of a girl, glowing in the shadows, was standing smack in the middle of the room. Her hollow eyes met mine. "You're my new playmate, aren't you?" she said, her voice bouncing off the corners of the room. With a terrified yell, I hurled myself at the door. It burst open and I tumbled out, my heart galloping in my chest. The haunted house stood dark and silent, an ominous sentinel in the moonlit night. Driving away, I stole one last glance at the house through my rearview mirror. The silhouette of the girl could still be seen, her ghostly face pressed against the top window, a chilling reminder that my visit would never be forgotten.
As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desolate road, I found myself standing in front of the infamous haunted house. Its dilapidated state and eerie aura sent shivers down my spine, but my curiosity got the better of me. I had always been drawn to the unknown, so I took a deep breath and pushed open the creaking front door. The moment I stepped inside, a cold draft enveloped me, causing goosebumps to rise on my skin. The air was thick with a musty scent, and an unnatural silence filled the house. Every step I took echoed in the dimly lit hallway, as if the house was watching my every move. I cautiously made my way up the creaky staircase, my heart pounding in my chest. The second floor seemed even more ominous than the first. The walls were adorned with faded wallpaper, peeling away to reveal the secrets of the past. As I walked past the old family portraits, their eyes seemed to follow me, filled with a haunting sadness. I entered a room at the end of the hallway, drawn by an inexplicable force. The door slammed shut behind me, trapping me inside. Panic gripped me as I struggled to open it, my hands trembling. Just as I was about to give up, the door swung open, releasing me back into the hallway. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, I pressed on. The next room I entered was engulfed in darkness, save for a single flickering candle. Shadows danced on the walls, creating grotesque shapes that seemed to move with a sinister intent. A whispering voice echoed through the room, chilling me to the bone. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, its ghostly form floating towards me. I could feel its icy breath on my neck as it whispered unintelligible words. My entire body felt paralyzed, rooted to the spot. The figure advanced closer, its eyes burning with a malevolent energy. Summoning every ounce of courage, I broke free from the grip of fear and ran. My heart raced as I stumbled down the stairs, the house seemingly alive, trying to keep me trapped within its walls. I burst through the front door, gasping for breath, grateful to be back in the embrace of the night. As I looked back at the haunted house, a sense of relief washed over me. I had survived, but the memory of that paranormal encounter would forever haunt my dreams.
I checked into the old hotel on a cold, stormy night. The rain was pouring down, and the wind howled through the trees, creating an eerie atmosphere. The hotel stood tall and imposing, its dark windows reflecting the gloomy surroundings. Little did I know that my stay would turn into a nightmare beyond my wildest imagination. As I entered the lobby, a chill ran down my spine. The air felt heavy, and the silence was deafening. The receptionist, a middle-aged woman with a cold stare, handed me the key to my room without uttering a word. I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease, but I brushed it off as mere paranoia. I made my way up to the third floor, where my room was located. The hallway was dimly lit, and the flickering lights added to the eerie ambiance. The carpeted floor muffled my footsteps as I walked towards room 307. I inserted the key into the lock, and the door creaked open, revealing a small, dimly lit room. The room had a musty smell, and the furniture seemed outdated. The bed was covered in a worn-out quilt, and the wallpaper was peeling off the walls. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, exhaustion took over, and I decided to settle in for the night. As I lay in bed trying to fall asleep, I heard strange noises coming from the room next door. It sounded like whispers, but I couldn't make out any words. I dismissed it as the wind playing tricks on my mind and closed my eyes, hoping for a peaceful sleep. But my hopes were shattered when I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps outside my door. They were slow and deliberate, as if someone was pacing back and forth. Fear gripped me, and I hesitated to leave the safety of my room. Curiosity got the better of me, and I mustered the courage to open the door. To my horror, the hallway was empty. The footsteps had ceased, leaving me in a state of confusion. I returned to my room, trying to convince myself that it was all in my head. The following night, the strange occurrences escalated. As I lay in bed, I heard a faint scratching sound coming from the closet. I approached it cautiously, my heart pounding in my chest. I opened the door, and to my horror, I found scratch marks on the inside, as if someone had been trapped inside and desperately tried to escape. The room grew colder, and a sense of dread washed over me. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every shadow seemed to move, and the walls whispered secrets I couldn't decipher. Sleep became impossible, and I spent the nights in a state of constant fear. One evening, as I was preparing to leave the hotel, I noticed a small, hidden compartment in the closet. It was concealed behind a loose panel, and curiosity got the better of me. Inside, I found a collection of old photographs, each depicting a different guest who had stayed in the room before me. As I examined the pictures, I noticed a pattern. Each guest had a look of terror etched on their faces, as if they had witnessed something unimaginable. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. The hotel was cursed, and I was just another victim trapped in its web of horror. With newfound determination, I decided to confront the hotel management about the sinister occurrences. But when I approached the receptionist, she simply smiled, her eyes filled with malice. "You should have never checked in," she whispered, her voice sending shivers down my spine. I fled the hotel that night, leaving behind the nightmares that haunted me. The experience left me scarred, forever changed. The hotel's dark secrets and the malevolent presence that lurked within its walls would forever haunt my dreams, a constant reminder of the horrors I had endured.